I was just thinking about symbology. And no, I'm not. I'm not doing very well right now. But I will. I'll be back to normal soon enough. So, I was just thinking about how important symbology is. Um, People don't. When some people will put so much emphasis on, let's say, the flag, and then those same people who make it sound like a flag is so important, people who actually get kind of upset if someone burns the American flag, will not understand at all the symbology behind someone of a different demographic being president than we've ever had. Now, I'm certainly not saying that someone should vote for someone because they're a certain demographic. But it certainly has a lot of meaning and symbology. When Obama was elected, I'll admit I cried a bit. I did. It was just like, wow, this is actually happening. It's showing that we are moving forward. And we can continue to move forward, but, and it seems the only people that would complain when people would be happy that Obama, as a black man, was elected, seem to be white guys who don't seem, sorry, but all of the presidents in the past had been straight white guys. It's always been your demographic. And you can't understand why it affects someone a lot when someone of a different demographic is elected? You can't understand that? You don't have even that bit of empathy? Well, I only look at what the person's going to do. Well, yes, that's obviously pretty important, but let me ask you this: what sort of demographic does Trump represent? Sometimes it almost feels like people are shoving forth this idea, well, as long as it's a straight white male, I'm good. Now, I don't think anyone says this directly, and I don't think that's what goes through a lot of people's minds, but it sometimes makes you wonder. What is the symbology of Trump getting elected? What would be the symbology of that? Is there a big need for his demographic to be represented? And then people might say, well, what's the thing about different people being represented? And I can picture people asking that when I'm saying this, and I'm going, well, again, it's always going to, anyone that's asking that is going to be someone, you've been represented all this time. So if you're really asking that, then you actually, To me, it just says that you can't relate with any other demographic. What made me make this video was I was on Tumblr, which I usually use for for images of men. But I am subscribed to a few other things. And there is a clip of someone in their car, and her mother was there, and her mother was just crying, and she goes, well, why are you crying? And the mother was just saying, I got to vote for a woman. And it made me think about, well, what if I was able to vote for a gay man, and that gay man actually had a chance of winning? I would probably end up being a bit teary on that, and just knowing, wow, we've come this far. This change in us allowing different demographics is a big one. It's a big change. And people can say, well, the laws haven't prohibited that the whole time, and are you really that clueless as to what obstacles people run across? You might be. Because I'd say 99% of the people who have that question are straight white males. It's like someone being on some winning team their entire life. They're involved on some winning team. Always wins. Let's say it's a team that's won for 100 years. Never a change in that. And then finally some other team wins. And when the people are teary about it, the person on that the team that always wins goes, well, I don't see what you're crying about. What's the big deal? It'd also be like that person saying, being upset that they lost, even though they've won all these other years. I guess that wasn't a very good analogy, but I'm not doing well right now, so but I wish I could edit this. I do. I sincerely wish I could edit this. I'm sorry this is so long. Just people not understanding the symbology behind electing someone who is of a demographic we haven't had in office before. People just not being able to understand that. I'm trying to find some way to word this without using a phrase that everyone hates. But I guess I'm going to use the phrase. How privileged are you that you can't understand that? Just I may not like Hillary very much. I voted for her, but I may not like her very much. But I do think it's a huge symbol of change that we could have a woman as president. And of course, the people like Black Pigeon Speaks will make it sound like that's a terrible thing. Oh, we don't need a woman as president. That's going to ruin everything. A fucking misogynist. I would say Black Pigeon Speaks is probably the most blatantly misogynistic person on YouTube. Of course, there's probably people that are worse, but everyone probably thinks they're trolling. They're so bad, so. I guess there could be some religious types, fundamentalist religious types that would probably be worse. But as far as anyone that has any sort of following, this video's going nowhere. Sorry, it's so long.